Everybody enjoying RISC-V 101 so far? Seems like it's been a very, there's a lot of information compressed into a very small space. But that's why we're here. So good to see everybody. My name is Jefro. I work at Red Hat. I worked at RISC-V International for a number of years. And it's great to be here. I'm here to talk about the software ecosystem boiled down into a very small nutshell. The software ecosystem could easily take up an entire day. It's very complex, as it is with any architecture. But the first thing I want to talk about is upstream. There are three things. Here we go. Sorry. Real question is, where is software being developed in the RISC-V ecosystem? What I wanted to cover today was, in general, upstream projects, software development and tracking of that development within RISC-V International, and then the RISE project, which is a new project within the Linux Foundation that has just formed this year. So diving into upstream, you'll notice on these slides that a lot of this is stuff that is already out on the RISC-V website or on the RISC-V wiki. These are great sources of information to be tracking whenever you are looking for software or looking to see if something has been done or needs to be done. In particular, at the bottom of this page, which is the homepage for the wiki, you can see there is a button there that says RISC-V Software Ecosystem. So you want to start there, and that boils you down into this page, which talks a lot about the ongoing porting work and development work, that is going on within the ecosystem, particularly within tool chains, operating systems, emulators, simulators, language runtimes. There's a ton of work going on here. One thing I also wanted to point out is that there is another page about how to contribute to this RISC-V software ecosystem, and that is, partly from a developer point of view and partly from a business point of view if you wanted to talk to the folks at RISC-V. There is a software ecosystem developer, Isaac Shute. I'm sure that he's around. I haven't seen him yet this morning, but I'm sure that he's going to be around this week. There are also many upstream open source communities, and one of the things I'm talking about here is specifically about open source. I'm not talking about the wide amount of proprietary software that is also being developed in the RISC-V ecosystem. But upstream, there are quite a lot of projects that are addressing open source. Certainly Linux, Android have been talked about. On the toolchain side, GCC, LLVM, Clang support now. And with operating systems, Yocto project supports RISC-V. Certainly the major Linux distributions, Ubuntu, Debian, Fedora, which is my personal favorite, Zephyr, which is one of my second favorites, and then FreeRTOS as well. And I'm sure that there are many that I'm forgetting here. If you have a specific need, I would highly recommend going to that community's website and asking questions. I'm sure that they are covered there. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the RISC-V technical working groups. This is the page on RISC-V.org that talks about the technical forums, and one of those is probably I think it's the second longest standing mailing list in the RISC-V ecosystem, and that's the software dev mailing list. It is still quite active. It is a Google mailing list, so it's very easy to join. Strongly recommend going and taking a look. There are also the technical working groups within RISC-V International. This one I just picked out was the applications and tools overarching group within the technical working groups. And what you'll see on this page is that there are a lot of software-specific SIGs. QEMU is covering emulators. There's the JIT and VM SIG for just-in-time just-in-time compiling and virtual machines. Audio and video codecs, crypto libraries, DSP libraries. There's simply quite a lot going on there. And you'll notice that most of them are SIGs, which are special interest groups. It means they don't have specific deliverables. They are simply there for people to have open discussions about these topics. We also cover automotive, like in the automotive SIG, which is more of an ecosystem-oriented SIG. We cover software there as well. I'm sure they also cover it in functional safety and high-performance computing. You know, there are so many technical working groups within RISC-V. I think it really pays to just look around and to talk to folks at this conference if there's a specific topic that you're interested in, software-wise. And don't forget GitHub. There is a very robust set of software repositories on GitHub. You can see down here there's an entire RISC-V software area. There's also RISC-V Android software upstreaming. These are software that's been developed within this community. So it's very important. And indeed, there's also some development software such as Spike, a RISC-V simulator that's available that was developed within the RISC-V ecosystem. So, the final thing I wanted to cover in my brief talk here is the RISE project. RISE was formed by 13 organizations back in May of this year, specifically to provide resources to this very large software ecosystem. A lot of work has been done by the community, very much by individuals working in various communities on software to support RISC-V. RISE wanted to kind of formalize that and bring a bit more resources to it. So it is formed as sort of a consortium to provide personnel. So each of the founding organizations does have one person specifically, at least, working on RISC-V only. And there is also a pool of money, and there is now an RFP process within RISE for people to submit projects to be covered. And so there are actually 3 of those in flight right now, and which we do cover in the social media and on the RISE mailing lists. So here's a kind of an overview. I actually stole this from the TSC talk that will be happening on Wednesday. There will be a RISE TSC presentation on Wednesday to talk all about the different technical projects that are going on. So just consider this to be a sort of a teaser for that. Really, the goal of the project is to raise the quality of platform implementations to match other architectures. And I think that the TSC is very active and in supporting this goal. Work does not necessarily happen directly within RISE. The entire idea of RISE is to provide resources to work in these upstream projects. So that's where the work is happening. So it isn't something that you would want to go out and you feel like you need to go out and join. I mean, if you wanted your company to join RISE, would be more than welcome. But it's also possible to work with the RISE folks directly in these upstream projects. So there's another picture about RISE, exactly what it's up to, and our relationship with RISC-V International. That is one of the things that's very important, is that this was formed as a separate project within the Linux Foundation, but RISE is very much in contact with the technical side of RISC-V International and the marketing side as well. We want to do some collaborative promotion as well. So this is an overview of the TSC working groups. You can see that there are a number of different areas covered. Everything from simulators and emulators to firmware, compilers, and tool chains. My colleague Redbeard works on the Linux distro integration list, where there's a lot of discussions going on there about platforms that are appropriate for various distros, specifically in data center, but also for other distro purposes, including automotive. And it's also important to note that all of the members of RISE are also RISC-V International members. That's actually a requirement to join RISE. So these people also, you will find them in the RISC-V International working groups as well. So there is a, RISE has sponsored a lounge down, I think it's downstairs. Is it downstairs? Thank you. So if you'd want to continue the conversation about software, somebody from RISE will be in the lounge the entire time during the event. We'd be happy to sit and have a discussion. And so that's the plug for RISE. And that was all I really wanted to cover. I don't know, I've been talking really fast, or if my 15 minutes are up, but it's all good. So any questions about software? I've answered everything. That's fantastic. That's never happened before. So, okay. Well, thank you very much.